Senator Marty.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate the discussion of the amendment. Want to start by being clear that this doesn't take one penny away from what the author has stated was the purpose of the bill, to address shortages in numbers of police officers. The bill starts with $2 million, and Senator Limmer, it already has pathways to policing in this bill. And it simply shifts the $2 million, so all of it goes to the Pathways to Policing, which several people have mentioned is an award-winning program that does help recruit people of color and underrepresented groups into law enforcement, which is an issue across the state, not just in the core cities, but every part of the state is much more diverse, and law enforcement hasn't always represented that. So make it clear, this is not taking away for those who are giving these speeches about how we got to recruit more police officers, that this is taking money. This is simply channeling the money from an advertising marketing campaign into one that's a concrete effort to address the shortage of officers. The next point I want to make is that there's a lot of talk about crime and fear. I'm worried about public safety. I don't know anybody who's not worried about violence. And that's important. We should address how we address violence. Yes, we can debate how we address the shortage of police officers. We're having a little bit of that right here. We can address inherent racism in the system. We can talk about removing police officers who harm the people they're serving. We can proactively prevent crime. I serve on the Justice Reinvestment Initiative with Senator Rosen, and I think there's some good work being done there about supervision. That'll make our community safer. So would a huge investment in making sure every offender, everybody's in trouble with the courts, get mental health and CD treatment. Those things will make the community safer. But $1 million marketing campaign on how valuable police are, as Senator Kent and others pointed out, what if we were to do that for teachers or nurses or daycare providers? Use taxpayer money to do that. I'm not sure that's the smartest way we do this. I'm not sure it's the most concrete way we're going to get more people into those professions. And the idea that this bill was pulled out of other things and take it out now, I'm glad we're talking about it. But I'm really troubled by the fact that we're talking at this point about running $1 million taxpayer-funded advertising campaign on police, less than a couple weeks after Amir Locke was killed. Myron Metcalf, who's a columnist, African-American columnist, wrote a column. It was titled, "What Happened to Amir Locke Feels Like It Could Happen to Any Black Minnesotan." And you know, while 99% of Minnesotans may be very afraid of crime and very much worried about how we protect our safety, there are an awful lot of people in the state who are scared to turn to the people they're supposed to turn to for safety, the police. Why? Columnist Metcalf wrote, Amir Locke was respectful of law enforcement, his mom said. I was overjoyed, she said, with Amir, my son. Amir was loved by all, hated by none. And I don't use his name because he's the only one this has ever happened to. But there are a lot of people in the state who care very deeply and desperately about addressing violence, gun violence, unsafety in our communities. There are a lot of people who care about that. But as they care about it, they're also scared by some of the people that a lot of people look up to. And we're doing nothing to talk about how we make sure that every Minnesotan can trust the people who are supposed to help protect their public safety. We're not talking about that. But this amendment isn't taking away one penny from police recruitment. This amendment is saying instead of a marketing campaign, which I'm not sure is the best thing to be doing here, especially at this insensitive time. It's grossly insensitive to what a lot of people are feeling. African-American people in the Twin Cities are just as scared of crime, maybe more so than a lot of other people. But somehow running ads saying, police are our friends, recognizing that many people experience that, but not everybody does. And how do we make our communities safer? This $1 million for that is not a wise investment, and it's grossly insensitive at this time. This bill doesn't take money from police recruitment. It just shifts where it's spent to one that makes more sense and has been proven to have results. I urge your support for the amendment.